If you're anything like me, you're ignoring that TBR shelf because it is 2025. There are so many cool new releases coming out. So we're going to be talking about all of my anticipated releases for 2025. I'm talking fantasy, rom-com, lit fic, thrillers, YA books, romantasy, you name it. We're going to be talking about it in this video. So let's get into it. I already saved them on my Goodreads. I found 23 books specifically coming out in 2025 that I am more than excited for. We're gonna start off strong with Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. This is part of the whole When in Rome series. They're standalone books, but they take place in the same town. Sarah Adams is a genius at writing rom-coms. I absolutely loved When in Rome and Practice Makes Perfect. This has to do with another sister in that town, so I'm very excited to see what she comes up with. She writes such sweet rom-coms. And this one's gonna be a Rivals to Lovers, which I'm very excited for. Along with Emily Henry's new release, Great Big Beautiful Life. I don't know how I feel about this book cover. It's a little in your face and aggressive to me for a romance that I know it's gonna be a pull at your heartstrings kind of read, because I feel like Emily Henry just does those even if she doesn't intentionally mean to. These two writers are competing for a chance to write a biography about this woman, so I also think this is gonna be a Rivals to Lovers type of situation. I didn't love Funny Story, so I'm hoping this one will redeem her for me. Not that it was necessarily bad, but I don't know. She just makes really complex storylines and really deep characters that have so much potential to be more than who they start out to be in the beginning of the book. And I'm excited to see what she does with these two characters, especially because they're writers. I hope it reminds me of Beach Read.
Does anyone else have curly hair that never knows what the best place to put your hair in? It's so frustrating.
Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins may be my most anticipated release of the year. I absolutely loved A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I didn't know how I was going to feel about a prequel to the Hunger Games series, but she absolutely nailed it, and I'm so excited for Haymitch's story. He is probably one of the best characters in the Hunger Games trilogy, I guess. And to hear what goes down from his point of view, I think it's gonna be chef's kiss. I absolutely loved his character. I don't know if he's gonna have that same witty, kind of grumpy attitude like he has in the series, because he's an adult, and here he'll probably be a teenager. We'll see. There's also going to be a love story here, so I'm assuming it's going to be very tragic. I'm assuming it's going to make me cry, because I think the Hunger Games just does that, and regardless of how the story plays out, it's just a really sad situation overall. So who knows, but I'm very excited. Then we have Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. This is her next book in the Part of Your World series. Not only does she write romances that take place in like the cutest little settings, whether it's a small town, in the country, or by the lake, she also has really cool characters that you don't really just root for them and like their romances, you root for them outside of that, whether it's their job or with their parent relationships. It's so relatable, so easy to digest and read, just speed read through. And her audiobooks are also really good, so if you're an audiobook girly, maybe check out this series if you haven't already. Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, I'm really excited for, because I never got a chance to read Daisy Jones and the Six. I read One True Loves and loved it. I watched the TV show of Daisy Jones and the Six, sobbed my eyes out, so I'm going to make sure I read Atmosphere this year. This has to do with some girls working for NASA, I think, in the 1980s. I'm really excited to be kind of transported back to that time period, just like she did with Daisy Jones and the Six. You get a really good feel for the culture back then, and so I think she's gonna do the same with this one. She writes really, really well. Her characters are also very complex, as well as her love stories. They always leave me feeling very broken. It heals, but it breaks at the same time, if that makes sense. I'm really excited for this. And then we have First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. I did read Love Light Farms, and when I saw the cover for this, it instantly reminded me of Sleepless in Seattle. I'm assuming that's what she's going for here, and I am so excited for that. I just recently watched that movie again, and it's so precious. We have a hopeless romantic who meets this jaded radio host who doesn't believe in love, but he is the radio host for this romance hotline. So I'm not really sure how that works. And this girl, I guess, calls into the radio station asking for love advice for her mother specifically, and it kind of pushes the two of them together. And I feel like we're gonna get a lot of banter, a lot of grumpy sunshiny type of situations. This year is definitely gonna be the year of sequels, of finishing book series, one of which being Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. I had to get my phone out for this because that is a tongue twister, as most of her books are. Without getting into spoilers, this is book 3 of the Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies series. We have Emily Wilde, who is a professor at this university. She's very quirky, very studious, quite a curmudgeon, and she has this professional rivalry. She has this professional rivalry with a guy named Wendell Bambleby, and it's kind of their story alongside of her studying the species of fairies that kind of live in different parts of the world. It is so good. I don't know how to really explain it, but you kind of read the book like journal entries, and that's all I'm gonna say about this series, because you just have to trust me. If you like cozy fantasy and slow-paced, anticlimactic type of reading, you just want kind of a slice of life, I think you would really enjoy it. Nothing is very high stakes with these books, but the writing is superb. The banter is so funny. I absolutely love the cover as well. And yeah, it's just a very whimsical story. And I think if you are not looking for anything really stressful in your life, this could be a great series for you to read. I only earmarked this one because I want to give her one more try. I did not like Daisy Darker. I gave it 1 star for 2024, but Beautiful Ugly comes out, or I think it already came out this year, so we may be giving it a try. It's about a husband and wife. Husband has like some really exciting news to share, so he gets on the phone with his wife, but over the phone, he hears her kind of slam on the brakes, and I guess tragedy happens. Years later, he goes to Scotland, I guess, to kind of get a new change of scenery, and he sees his wife. And it kind of goes from there. Not really sure what to expect. It sounds very eerie, but it does leave me intrigued enough to try and give her a second chance. So I will report back. Then I have saved Gifted and Talented by Olivia Blake. I don't know about this. I read the Atlas 6 and the Atlas Paradox. Kind of got bored with it, honestly, and I haven't read anything else by her. But the premise between this book does remind me of A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket, and I think it could be worth picking up. I don't know. We have 3 children, and upon the death of their father, they're really wondering who's gonna get the inheritance. They're all very, very smart, and they're in these different careers. So yeah, I'm not really sure if it's gonna be some sort of competition to see who gets what. It also kind of reminds me of the inheritance games, now that I think about it. Nonetheless, Olivia Blake does a really good job at pretentious writing and writing very unlikable characters to the point where you almost don't even want to read the book because it's borderline annoying. Yeah, so I don't really know. I may give it a shot, but I'm putting it up here in case you're interested, because I'm a little interested too. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Fearless by Lauren Roberts, which is book 3 in the Powerless trilogy. I am so excited. When I tell you book 2 left me aghast, that would be the understatement of the century. I love this series so much. It has my heart and soul. I don't know what she's gonna come up with. I wish there would be like 10 books in this series somehow, but this is gonna be the last one, and I'm excited to see what she comes up with and how she ties everything together. This is a YA fantasy. If you haven't read it yet, please go ahead and read Powerless or watch my plot summary for Powerless and Reckless. Again, I'm not gonna get into spoilers here because this is part of a series, but it has to do with powers, it has to do with competitions and prizes and love triangles, all that jazz. Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell is another thriller that I'm really excited for. We have 3 women that are all connected by this one guy. Honestly, the description for the book is pretty vague, but I love Lisa Jewell's writing. I think she's a really fun thriller author. A little bit better than Frida McFadden, if you ask me. And I also like the cover of this. It's giving smoke and mirrors, funhouse kind of vibes. I don't know. Switching gears to rom-coms, The Love Haters by Catherine Center looks so cute. I love Catherine Center so much. If you like closed-door romances, closed-door rom-coms, I think you will really like her writing. They're cheeky, but not overly cheesy. And I think she also has really relatable characters, kind of like Abby Jimenez. We essentially have this girl, Katie, who needs a specific job to avoid being laid off. And so she lies about the fact that she can swim to her boss so that she can get this specific job opportunity. So she gets whisked away to this like paradise type of place, but nothing goes right. The swim instructor, coach kind of person, I think his brother's with her boss, and so she's trying to put up a good front, and there's a whole thing with them. So it's giving the On Honeymooners kind of, because they're going to like this really beautiful, probably romantic destination to do something. I don't know, but I'm very excited for this. Catherine Center just does such a good job with rom-coms, and I think this is going to be more of a forced proximity type of situation, which I'm here for. I've never read a book by this author, but Famous Last Words sounds so good. It says it's June 21st, the longest day of the year, and the life of new mother Camilla is about to change forever. After months of maternity leave, she will drop off her infant daughter at daycare for the first time and return to her job as a literary agent. But the next day, I guess she wakes up and her husband isn't there. There's a weird note that he leaves behind. All of a sudden, there's breaking news on the TV. There's a hostage situation going on. The police call to tell her that Luke, her husband, not only is involved, but he's the one kind of holding the gun and running the show. And yeah, that's essentially the story. It sounds really cool. I, again, never read anything from this person before, so I'm not really sure what to expect or what to compare it to, but it's piqued my interest. The Floating World is book 1 in a new series by author Axie O, and this is an Asian-inspired fantasy. I've never read something like this before, but the premise seems really interesting as well. It seems like it's going to be some sort of goose chase, enemies to lovers situation. It has to do with some Korean folklore, so I don't know. It sounds really interesting to me. I think this is considered YA fantasy. I could be wrong. On Goodreads, it says Final Fantasy meets Shadow and Bone series, so take with that what you will. When I tell you this year has my flabbers absolutely gassed it, I'm not joking, because now we have a new release coming out by Tahira Mafi from the Shatter Me series. What the heck? This takes place like 10 years after the events of the Shatter Me series, with one of our favorite characters, kind of. And I'm not going to go into spoilers because, again, you have to read the Shatter Me series, but I will say there is a lot of rebuilding happening, a lot of infiltrating happening, and I also love that she went with the vibes that of the titles, same with the other series, like the me at the end of every word. So this one's going to be called Watch Me. I'm so excited. A Theory of Dreaming by Ava Reed is book 2 and the last book in the Study of Drowning duology. This takes place, I think, immediately after what happens in book 1. And this is more of like a dark academia YA fantasy series, a very whimsical writing. It wasn't my favorite read, but it was very interesting. So I do want to make sure I remember to read this book. If you like dark academia, I think you will enjoy it. I think you will enjoy the setting. It kind of gives like this gloomy London vibes. I don't know if that's for everyone else, but that's what I got. How cute is book 3 in the Assistant to the Villain series, Accomplice to the Villain, I think is the last book in the series. I am so excited for this book. Not as excited as I am for Fearless, but it's up there. I absolutely loved 1 and 2. This is like comedy fantasy at its finest. I don't know if this is opening up a new genre, but I'm here for it. We have grumpy sunshine Trek kind of vibes, super sarcastic comedy. It's hilarious, and it's a little has a romantic subplot as well. So if you're looking for a fantasy romance without spice, this series is perfect for you. And yeah, I'm telling you, it's banger after banger of books this year. I'm so excited. I don't know, I have to make time to read all these books somehow. Or I could do reading vlogs with live reactions. That could be a good option. The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith is another fantasy romance. I don't know if this is going to be a series or not. I've never read anything by her, but it looks really sweet. On Goodreads, it says The Cool Prince meets the Selection series, which is super cool. I love the Selection series, and The Cruel Prince was also fun. It was very unique to the genre of YA fantasy, I think, so I don't know how this is going to tie in with all of that. It's under historical fantasies, so I don't know if it's going to remind me a little bit also of Divine Rivals. I kind of hope it does. But yeah, I love bargains, I love fantasy, I love history. Let's tie them all together and make a baby and have fun with it. Actually, I'm reading one of the reviews right now and someone says it's a reimagined 1840s England, which sounds right up my alley. I absolutely love any type of period, piece, romance, drama. Give it all to me. I absolutely love those. So I'm really excited about this. Swept Away is the newest book by Beth O'Leary. She has become probably my new favorite romance author. I probably like her more than Emily Henry, to be honest. And first of all, the cover of this is exquisite. I absolutely love the ombre effect we have going on. It's so pretty. It's about two strangers who find themselves lost at sea together. And to make matters worse, these two people met once with absolutely no intentions of ever meeting again. So now they're stuck together and they have to try and like make it out alive somehow, get to safety. I don't know. I feel like this would be the worst case scenario for most people. So I'm excited to see where this book goes. Then we have Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. This is her debut adult novel and I don't know how I feel about it. I read the brief description she posted on Instagram and it seems interesting. It's giving historical fantasy as well, but I don't know. To be determined. If she brings out more information that will intrigue me, I'll probably give it a go just because I absolutely love the Once Upon a Broken Heart series and the Carvel series so much. Maybe it's worth checking out, but so far I'm not super interested in this book and I'm so sad to say that. But I still put it up here because I have to give it a shot. She has beautiful writing. Very lyrical, whimsical type of writing. Even with both series, she kept that writing style similar. So I don't know if it was just for that series or if that's her writing style in general. But because this is a completely different universe, completely different story, different characters and everything, maybe it will be written differently. I don't know. But I think she categorized it as like a thriller. So honestly, I don't really know what's gonna be in this book. Let me know in the comments what you think of this upcoming release because I personally am a little underwhelmed by this announcement. I was hoping she was gonna announce something further in the Magnificent North Carvel universe, but that's just me. Finlay Donovan Digs Her Own Grave is book 5 in the Finlay Donovan series. I actually don't know if I read book 4, but I did read the first 3 books last year and they were really funny, especially the audiobook. The narration was hilarious to me, so I am definitely going to be reading book 4 if I haven't already, and then pick up this one too. Essentially, we have a mom who somehow manages to be put in this situation where she is now this like assassin for hire, but she's a single mom with 2 little kids trying to make ends meet. And things do not go as planned because now she's in a pretty sticky situation and the series kind of goes from there. It's so funny, very ridiculous. But if you can get past the ridiculousness of her situation, I think you'll really enjoy it. And I don't really know what more there is to write about because there's 5 books in this series, but we're still going for it. It's okay. And last but not least, I would be remiss if I did not mention John Scalzi's new book, When the Moon Hits Your Eye. I did read Starter Villain last year and I thoroughly enjoyed it actually. It was very funny. Very satirical. While I didn't totally love the ending or the themes that were mentioned in the book 100%, I still appreciated his writing style to the point where this one has piqued my interest just enough to give it a whirl. I'm going to leave you with this question. What would really happen if suddenly the moon were replaced by a giant wheel of cheese? That's all I'm going to say about that book. If you're interested, let's buddy read it together. I don't know because I absolutely hate cheese. Fun fact about me. So are we still gonna read this book? Yes. Is it potentially going to gross me out further from all cheese products? Also yes. But I'm determined to read all of these books for you guys and report back on my findings. So let me know what you're most looking forward to reading this year. If there's any books I did not mention that you think I would really enjoy, also let me know in the comments. But yeah, those are all my anticipated reads for 2025. I'm so excited for this reading year. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on myself to reading for the sake of reading through so many books. I just want to enjoy my year of reading this year and being with you guys and talking about books together. So that's the plan. But as always, until next time, I will see you in my next video. Bye!